Hello everyone, thank you for joining in today. I'm gonna start this session in next 2 minutes. Let everybody join. Sending you greetings from Delhi, where I'm based right now. And it's chilling weather outside here. So do send your questions about whatever you have in your mind going on in the chat box. That will really help. We will try to answer as far as possible after the short presentation which I plan to give you today. But do send your questions and we will definitely respond back. Hello Sajal, greetings from Goa. Thank you so much for joining. Let's wait for another 1 minute. Thank you Soumya for joining. Thank you Mr. Gautam, Mr. Roy, Carrot Ajay, Shubham, Sajal, Mr. Sharma. Let's wait for others. People are joining in more. Thank you Aryan. Thank you Amal Raj for joining. Thank you Mr. Pirate King. Started receiving some questions, which is very good. I will try to answer them after the session today. Definitely will try and take up these questions. Please keep sending your questions in the chat box. That will be really appreciated. Please keep sending the questions. So all set here to go for me, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Chirag Bahri, and I'm also a seafarer, an ex-seafarer, and have sailed for about nearly 10 years. Before been taking up this work in supporting and helping seafarers who have been facing various issues in the past. I'm sure most of you would be aware that I was also one of the seafarers who was also been held in captivity of Somali pirates for about 8 months, and thereafter I joined a program called Maritime Piracy Humanitarian Response Program, MPHRP, and there we supported a number of seafarers and families who were facing issues around piracy, and we tried to help the seafarers in their rehabilitation as well. Presently, my work with ISWAN is around supporting seafarers and families who have been going through various kind of crises, various kind of issues, challenges that they may face at sea, and how we can minimize those challenges while supporting them as well as their families during that ordeal. And I would like to now tell you something about ISWAN. So ISWAN is named as International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network. It's a charity organization based in UK, and it has also its offices based in India, Philippines and Nigeria. So we have in 4 countries you can find ISWAN, and ISWAN is a charity organization. It's not a union, it's not a shipping group as such or something. It's a charity organization, it's an NGO you can say. So the ISWAN basically do a lot of work around welfare and promoting welfare of seafarers, and this is where I will be trying to tell you something about it. It has a 24/7 seafarer helpline, which is available 24/7 across the world. The seafarers can contact them, and they can get aware about various issues they may be facing. They can get information about various challenges that they may face, on how to deal with those challenges and what they need to do. So this helpline is totally free of cost. It can speak in various different languages, including Hindi, English, Tagalog, French, Chinese, Arabic, and various others. So feel free to contact the helpline if you have any kind of questions. Then we also do a lot of work around social interaction matters. We want to promote this kind of work around seafarers getting on board. When they go, they want to have to interact with other seafarers on board. They should also have an environment where they can interact with their fellow colleagues. Work and work and work is not the only solution. You need to also devote some time for your socializing and interactions with fellow colleagues. So that is very much required, and that is how we try and do in the social interaction matters. There was a research work been undertaken, there was trials happen, and we are waiting for some reports of the trials to further work with shipping companies on how we can promote social interactions on board. We do a lot of work around mental health of seafarers, improving their mental health, resilience, and we do trainings also. We have resources. I'm sure most of you would know about ISWAN's helpline and also the ISWAN's website. But in case you are not aware about ISWAN's website, I'm sure my colleague will share the ISWAN's website detail on the chat box. Please take a note of that. If you go on the website, you can access through the ISWAN's resources, and you can read them. They are very easy to read. There are 3 mental health guides. There are a lot of things on the physical health as well available. So please use them. They are free of cost to download. Not a single penny will be charged to download. So please take these guides with you. You can download on your mobile as well. You can download an app of ISWAN. There is an ISWAN's app also is available. So you can download that, and you can easily take these things along with you when you go on board, and you can read them when you are free. In your free time, and also you can share with other colleagues when you're there. So ISWAN also do a lot of work in the regions by practically supporting a number of seafarers, and in that process we have done a lot of work around during the time of COVID as well. If you see from the last 2 years, all of us have been impacted by COVID, and a number of seafarers and their families were in need of financial support. They were in need of assistance because they were not able to return home. Number of seafarers were not having, they have to extend their contracts on board, and some of you would have spent months altogether against your contract limits, and they needed some support. So the helpline was also looking after supporting the seafarers during that time. You may imagine that more than 40,000 seafarers had contacted the helpline over the last 1 year. So that's an amazing number, and that is from across the world. But at the same time, some of the seafarers were in need of practical support, such as some of the seafarers, they were on ship, but their families, their wife were due for a baby, and they had to be taken to the hospital to get it. So ISWAN's regional teams were able to assist the families during that time by standing by them, by ensuring that the families get the right support at that moment. They were followed up so that the hospitalization process is taken care of, and also some of the seafarers were in need of financial support because they were not able to join ships, and because of that they had issues with regards to medical health issues with their families. Their children were facing dire issues about continuing education in the schools, so they were not having the money how to pay. So that's where ISWAN stepped in through its funds, and we supported the seafarers with that. I'm very thankful to various funders for putting in the money in the Seafarers Emergency Fund, through which these funds, this money grants were made available to the seafarers. In some of the countries where the seafarers were stranded, they had signed off from the vessel, but they were not getting seats on the flights. So we worked with various diplomatic missions across the world and ensured that the Indian seafarers were given priority treatment and were able to board the Vande Bharat flights, which were running at that time in the initial days of COVID. And they were able to board those flights and return home safely. Not only that, in Philippines, our team was able to look after the seafarers who were stranded in Manila for days. They do not have food, water or shelter to survive. And we were providing them 3 times hot meals free of cost. We were able to get them the shelter they needed. And that's how we worked with various partners in ensuring that the seafarers get all the better support they need at that moment of time. We were also looking after the seafarers who have been abandoned. You might have heard about stories of seafarers who have been abandoned on vessels, and they have to stay and they have to go through a very horrific ordeal. And not only the seafarers goes through, but also their families. They also go through a very difficult period. So the ISWAN's regional team supports the seafarers and their families during such time, and they guide them. We also guide them on what steps they can do. While uploading the forms at the ILO abandonment database, the cases have been expedited, and we also follow up with various stakeholders to ensure that the seafarers return home quickly and safely, and the families also feel supported. Not only that, the piracy cases, we have seen how the piracy has impacted the seafarers. It is still happening in Gulf of Guinea and various other parts of the world. Although the recent International Maritime Bureau reports suggest that the piracy levels are very much down, which is very good news, but still seafarers needs to take all the right precautions. They need to be aware about what they need to do if they see a pirate boat coming in. And we have seen in difficult circumstances, the seafarers feel very uncomfortable on what steps they need to do when they see a pirate boat approaching, because in a crisis, we all react very differently. And therefore, we have training programs, we have awareness sessions for seafarers, where we guide the seafarers on what they need to do in such cases and how they need to deal with the pirates if at all they get hijacked, if they are in captivity. These things are not been taught by anyone, and therefore ISWAN is very much willing to share such kind of experiences, such kind of fact findings we had while meeting with so many of seafarers and families across the world, that we would like to share them with the seafarers. And if anybody of you are interested, we'll be more than happy to do a separate presentation on such things. And we are continuously making our efforts to make seafarers better prepared and aware, not only just on piracy, but also on abandonment issues. What you need to do, what are the early signs that you can recognize that you have been abandoned, and what are the steps you need to take, whom to approach, what do you mean by a PNI club, what do you mean by a flag state, where do you find the information about that. All these things are very much necessary for a seafarer to understand, and ISWAN continuously try to do all this. They try to promote all this information among the seafarers so that they are better skilled and aware about their rights and what they have to do in case they get into any such circumstances. We have been handling some very difficult cases in the recent past, especially around the seafarers missing from ships. Seafarers find themselves in a very critical situation, and maybe the seafarer has died on board. The exact cause of death is still to determine, and so all that things put a very impact on the families of those seafarers. And we stand by with the families, try to guide them on what is good, what steps you need to take if you think that in these circumstances, who are the right people whom you need to approach to. So these are very much necessary. So if in case you are going on board and you would like to share the contact details of ISWAN with your family before you go on board, or any other welfare organization, please do that. Please share the relevant details of your shipping companies, about your unions. If you are a member of any union, ISWAN, the charities such as ISWAN, you can share, so that the families will also be aware that whom to approach in case they may want some information about you, and if you're not able to contact them. We have done a lot of work around mental health and physical health as well in the recent past. We have done a lot of trainings among seafarers on identifying signs, symptoms. How do you keep up relationship among your colleagues on board? What are the difficulties the seafarers are facing because of the mental health issues, and how do you remove that barriers? How do you remove that stigma on board? How do you encourage senior staff on board as well to promote the juniors who are having mental health issues? Mental health and physical health both go in vain. We promote our physical health when we have a fever, when we have a running nose, when we have a headache, when we have a body ache. But do we tell our colleagues that from the last 3 days I've not been able to sleep properly? So all these things are kind of stigma, and we would like to remove. We would hope that these things are removed, and the seafarers have an environment on board where they can talk very freely about whatever the challenges and issues that they are facing. There are a lot of funds that are available also in Philippines, especially the Hardship Fund, the Seafarers International Relief Fund, we have been distributed a number of applications. We have received a number of applications from seafarers in Philippines who have been suffering because of COVID, and they could not pay back their bills, the cost of the hospitalization, or they are facing hardships because they are not able to join back ships. Many of the seafarers worked on the cruise ship sector and they still do not have them proper employments. And we have been very pleased to support such seafarers with some small amount of funds to look after their very basic needs of even buying some essential food items. And recently we saw a Typhoon Rai which has impacted a number of seafarers and the families in Philippines, and our team is still working continuously round the clock to support such seafarers in Philippines as well. And we also did a lot of work around vaccinations in India. You may recall that during the time of COVID, when the seafarers were not able to get the vaccinations on priority, ISWAN was able to get in partnership with two leading hospital chains. One is the Narayana Health and the second is the Medica group of hospitals, and we ensure that the seafarers get the priority vaccinations and so that they can again rejoin ships and they can again stand on their own and support their families. So we were able to do that, and we were able to support some of the seafarers in that process as well. And we are very humbled, and we are very grateful for all our funders who have supported us throughout this whole process in ensuring that the seafarers gets the better support that they should be getting it. And if in case you need any kind of support, if you are on board, you have any kind of questions, any concerns you have, please ring in the Seafarer Help Helpline. You can access them through various means. Please log in to our next session, which we are going only on the Seafarer Help Helpline. So you'll get to know a little bit more about the helpline. How does it work, and what does it do? How can you contact them? There are a number of means you can contact them, but especially for today's session, I would suggest please download ISWAN's app. You can easily reach out to the helpline through the ISWAN app as well. And please share this message among your seafarers. It's for your own benefit as well. So in that ways, I would like to now end this my presentation, and I'll be more than happy to take on any of the questions you may have. And I would now like to look at the questions you have put up already in the chat box. If you haven't put up, please, I would encourage you to please put up your questions in the chat box. Thank you so much for listening to me. Let me see if I can find more questions. So Mr. Gautam has asked where to approach for placement in a genuine way after graduating from college, in a way so that we don't land up paying agents. Absolutely correct, Mr. Gautam, that ISWAN is also running a campaign called Campaign Against Fraudulent Crewing Agents, and we are sensitizing seafarers to not pay any money to the any of the agents. It is also there in the MLC that you should not be paying money to any of the crewing agents as well. So that's, we definitely encourage all the seafarers not to pay money to the agents. But having said that, you must also need to look into the companies' websites. Various companies, they have their websites. They do issue, whenever they have vacancies, or even you can send them email about your way. There are a few companies who goes to colleges to get them recruitments, but at the same time, there may be some companies who may not require, you have to approach them directly. I believe that you need to be just aware that if any company is asking for money, that means there could be a problem which is coming in for you in a short while. Look out for genuine companies. Look out for feedback on that companies from different seafarers on social media. Nowadays, you can get a good feedback. There are a lot of other websites where you can find job vacancies, but always ensure that you are looking in for the right things. Like suppose the email ID of a person, it should be in, they should have it should not be on a Gmail, Yahoo or something like that of a person of a shipping company, but they should have their own domain. But it's not that that's the only thing you will have it, but that's one way of checking the things, and whether the company, whether the person whom you are going to talk to is genuine or not genuine. So please make sure that you follow all the right procedures in talking to anyone about your recruitment and placement, and never ever paid any money to an. We have seen number of cases where the seafarers have paid money and then afterwards they have got duped by these fraudulent agents. Recently we also started a survey, we have done we are doing a research work with the Gujarat Maritime University, we are trying to bring out about what are the issues behind that the seafarers have been facing, or the seafarers are getting duped by fraudulent crewing agents. What can be done in the law itself that can prohibit such things to happen. So all these things are will be taking, and I encourage again all the listeners today that if you have been duped or if you are in contact with any of the fraudulent crewing agents or facing problem, please take part in this survey. It will help us to come out to a conclusion and also recommend and follow up with the respective stakeholders on once the outcome is there. So please do take part in this survey, and that will really help us in the research work. Okay, Mr. Pirate King, thank you so much for your kind words, appreciating our good work. Thank you so much. Is ISWAN a shipping group? As I mentioned, it's a charity organization. It's based in UK, and we have offices in 3 different countries. Okay, and what is the future of shipping in upcoming days? Demand of seafarers will increase or decrease. It's difficult to say, but I think there will be always a demand for a skilled seafarer who has the right attitude, who has the right knowledge, and who can apply those things in shipping. There'll always be a vacancy for such seafarers. So even if you're not getting a job, don't get disheartened. Okay, there are times when the supply and demand keeps imbalance in there. That is a part of economy. It's not only related to shipping. It's in there everywhere. But what you can do is you can use your time to upgrade your skills. Make sure that if there are 10 people in line for a job, you can be better equipped with some skills, and you can demonstrate that. That will help you to move out of those 10 people. And if you find difficulties, you can also do some other job for a short while in some other sector where you can find, and you can support yourself and your family in the meanwhile while trying to get a job in shipping. So don't waste your time by sitting just at home, and that not only impacts your time, you're also losing your time, but also you are financially also you'll be impacted, and then mentally also you and your families will also get impacted at some stage. So please make sure that you utilize your time wisely. Okay, is there any other questions? Please share your questions if there are any. Otherwise, we'll be ending up this session today. So I don't see any more questions. If you have, please let me know. Okay, and somebody is asking, sir, how to join. So I just want to tell you that ISWAN is not a union. It's a NGO once again. So the seafarers cannot be members of it. Only the members can be the shipping companies, shipping organizations, charities and welfare organizations, flags and P&I clubs. They can be members of ISWAN. And so if you would like to follow ISWAN, please follow and please keep in touch with us, and we'll be always there to support you. And let us know how we can support you and your family at any time. So please note the Seafarers helpline number and contact them if you need any more assistance. So I would like to end this session here. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and wish you all a very, very good health and safe sail, those who are about to join ships. Thank you so much once again.